UFC Vegas 111 just wrapped up, and I'm going to recap the entire fight card, starting with the first fight of the night, working my way up to the main event, where we had Gabriel Bonfim getting the second round knockout over Randy Brown, my lock of the week, unfortunately going out cold. Then we also had his brother get TKO'd. So you guys tuned into the show earlier this week, you saw that I was fading both of them. At least we get to hit with one of them losing. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and let's get the full card recap underway. Starting it off with the first fight of the night, we had Jackson McVeigh taking on the short notice Zachary REESE. I have to question Jackson McVeigh's fight IQ, honestly. First round, he looked phenomenal, using the tie clinch to the best ability that he could, getting the elbows over the top. He was really breaking Zach REESE, who came into this fight very determined that he was going to get a finish, and he did when we get to the second round. But the first round, he damn near was out of there. Jackson McVeigh, that tie clinch was nasty, knees to the body, hurt Zach REESE, dropped him. Then we had the low blow, which killed a little bit of momentum. I think McVeigh was gassed in that moment a little bit. He was really hunting for that first round kill. He almost got it, but the low blow definitely slowed the pace down just a little bit, not allowing Zach REESE really to fight at range. Was able to get the takedown at the end of the round, and I believe he tried an inverted triangle. Jackson McVeigh was unable to get back to his feet, but again, it was only about a minute left in that round. Which begs the question, second round, they get straight to it. McVeigh goes back to the tie clinch and shoots the takedown, jumps to Gilly. Now, watching that live, I said, oh, he shouldn't go back to the takedown because he wasn't able to get back to his feet with a minute in the first round. Comes out in the second round, goes for the takedown, gets reversed, Zach REESE is on top, finds the submission. And I just have to question, how does McVeigh not understand that he's not the better wrestler in this fight? Zach REESE was able to control him, got the submission easy. It was really just given to him on a platter. McVeigh should have kept this fight standing where he was doing the damage. He almost had him knocked out in the first round. I don't understand it. I really don't understand it. Zach REESE coming in short notice, get the finish. Hey, man, got to give him props over Jackson McVeigh, who just really tossed this fight, and you can see how distraught he was immediately after, facing the canvas, absolutely knowing that he gave this fight to Zachary REESE. I mean, sometimes you beat yourself, and I didn't have a lot of faith in Jackson McVeigh, but I thought he would be able to put on the performance carry the performance that he had in the first round, but ultimately that IQ, something that isn't on paper all of the times, but it will definitely show itself, and that's something that it did in this fight. So good on Zachary REESE getting a second round submission over Jackson McVeigh. For REESE, you could give him I don't want to shoot him too high up in the ladder because Jackson McVeigh, he's, he was a prospect, but not really somebody that the UFC was looking for. He got brought in on short notice, was supposed to fight GOMES, then that fight fell out. A lot of weird things going on with him. He wasn't, brought on like the contender series or anything like that. So I think maybe like a fight with Dante Johnson could be on the rise for Zachary REESE. We still need to see what Dante Johnson is fully capable of. We saw him struggle with the wrestling from GOMES, so I think a Zach REESE fight would definitely be interesting. See who can win out of that fight. So that's what I like next for Zachary REESE. Good for him, stepping in short notice, staying ready, and it absolutely pays off for him. So good win. Next fight, we had Daniel Marcos taking on Miles Johns. Daniel Marcos finding the finish in the second round. I knew he was capable of finishing Miles Johns. I thought it would be more so on the feet, but kind of surprised to see that Daniel Marcos was the one utilizing the wrestling in this matchup. There was a lot of cage pressure from Miles Johns. Daniel Marcos was able to reverse it, get some striking going, but majority of the fight was Daniel Marcos shooting the takedowns, getting Miles Johns to the ground, allowing him back up and letting the striking go. Second round, found the choke, and I gotta say, for Miles Johns, 3 losses in a row against, yes, it's some solid competition, but it's just showing me that he's not capable of hanging with this level that the bantamweight division is full of now, because there's just killers. It's murder's row in the bantamweight division right now. It's absolutely one of the divisions that's on fire if you really look at it. Like, think of all the prospects that's coming out of 135 and how Marab is running it at the top. And look at the rankings. The rankings is full of sharks. We just saw McGee unable to, take on Piotr Yan. Song Yadong still out there. Sean O'Malley. The evolution of the bantamweight division is something that is lapping Miles Johns, in my opinion. Losing to Gene Matsumoto, Felipe Lima, Peyton Talbot around there. He didn't lose to Peyton Talbot, but I'm just mentioning the names of the guys that are coming up. Malcolm Wellmaker. There's a lot of guys that I don't think Miles Johns will be able to hang with. So I wouldn't be surprised if he's on the chopping block come this Tuesday, Wednesday. But great win for Daniel Marcos. Good to see him get back in the W column with a finish to stamp it at least. And I think he can find himself either fighting back into the rankings or maybe taking on the likes of like a Damon Blackshear. I would definitely love to see that fight. Blackshear, maybe even a Jonathan Martinez fight would definitely be interesting. But Marcos, he's one to watch out for in the bantamweight division. Good finish for him here. Next fight, we had Denise Gomes taking on Tisha Pennington. I don't have a problem with the decision. I thought Tisha was able to snag one round, which is why I mentioned the split decision. But it was ultimately Denise Gomes with the pressure, keeping Pennington on the back foot. Yes, she had moments where she was getting her shots off, darting in and out, but Denise Gomes was able to ragdoll her for the moments that she did take her down. Didn't really do much with it. Dropped her, tripping her, getting her onto the mat. Not utilizing that position really that much, but big, heavy shots. She was using a lot of spinning wheel kicks. The leg kicks were there for her. She really kept Tisha Pennington on the back foot for the majority of the fight. And, she did what she did. She did what she was supposed to do. And the turning of the tide in the women's strawweight division. Solid performance from Denise Gomes. I wasn't blown away. I knew she wouldn't be able to finish Tisha Pennington. I did think it would be slightly closer with Tisha having a speed advantage, but I guess the power was really deterring Tisha from truly committing to majority of her shots. Her corner was even telling her, like, Tisha, you got to commit, you got to go, believe in it. There was a lot of language such as that from the corner of Tisha Pennington throughout this fight. But Denise Gomes, good win for her. I think she can find herself matched up with like a Lupi Godinez. I'm not going to shoot her too high up the rankings. She's still young. She's still learning. She's only 25 years old. I think she looked good. Definitely taking on a vet who is pretty scrappy. Last time out, taking on Tabitha Ritchie and putting on a solid performance there. But I think Denise looked all right here. Not blown away by the performance, but keep climbing the ladder, and we'll see exactly where her skill set could take her. Next fight, we had Josh HOKIT taking on Max GIMENIS. Blitzed him first round, under a minute, TKO, as I predicted. Now, I did think there would be moments where GIMENIS could possibly present the grappling, but Josh HOKIT wasn't even having any of that. The speed definitely showed, but one thing I will mention to look out for with Josh HOKIT is if he gets matched up with a decent striker in the heavyweight division, someone who can throw leg kicks, because we saw GIMENIS, that one leg kick definitely bothered Josh HOKIT. Was unable to really get his footing, but he was able to get the knockout against a guy who stands pretty still in Max GIMENIS. Finally, we get some tape on Max GIMENIS, some actual live fight tape, and it's him getting flatlined, put out by Josh HOKIT. Beautiful use of the mic. Now, I don't agree with the call out. Walter Walker is a hot name, hot commodity around these parts right now. I don't think he's going to get a Walter Walker. I think Walter Walker's fighting higher into the rankings, but I can see Josh HOKIT taking on Louis Sutherland. Louis Sutherland is the guy that Josh HOKIT is, in my opinion, that everybody thought he was going to be. We've seen the body transformation from Louis Sutherland. I don't know if you guys paid attention to it, but I definitely pointed it out at the weigh-ins. Didn't look like the guy that we saw in LFA, I believe that's the lead that he was fighting in. The traps don't look the same. He looks like a big body. I think Josh HOKIT could possibly do the same thing that he did here. And I think that's a solid matchup. Keep climbing him. He's still young. Still got a lot of experience to get under his belt. 7-0. Still a raw talent. But you can see the speed, the athleticism. And it can present some problems for a lot of guys. Coming in, 236. Good size for him. I think Josh HOKIT should be all right. unless he gets matched up with a really nasty striker. But there aren't that many of them at heavyweight, so should be all right for a little bit. Should be a crowd pleaser. Put him in a stadium next time, or not a stadium, an arena. Excuse me. Next fight, Jacqueline Cavalcante taking on Mayra Bueno Silva to cash the safe parlay. We had Cavalcante and Daniel Marcos. Cavalcante looked good, sticking her from the outside, bullying Mayra Bueno Silva, in my opinion. Bueno Silva was really, to me, it looked like she was frustrated. She was able to land a couple of strikes, but majority of the time she was trying to close distance, and Cavalcante was not allowing that at all. Picking her apart, getting her shots going. The leg kicks were there for her. Body kicks were there for her. She put on the performance that I thought she would. Unanimous decision. Not surprised by it at all. Cavalcante in a really good position. Keep climbing. She should be able to find herself maybe in a like number one contender fight, possibly at the end of 2026. I say about 2 more fights for her. She could definitely be in that position. I think for her next, I would like to see. I want to see her take on Yana Santos. I think Yana Santos is definitely changing the opinion of a lot of people. She definitely changed my opinion. I thought Macy would beat her. I think Cavalcante versus Yana Santos could definitely be a really good fight. 2 strikers that are really bringing it, will walk forward, will let their shots go. I think it would be an interesting fight. And we got to respect Yana Santos for beating Macy Chiasson the way that she did, especially taking that fight with Macy missing weight. Gotta respect Yana Santos. So Cavalcante, Yana Santos is definitely a fight that I would like to see. For Bueno Silva, she's gonna have to defend that ranking. I think you can book her against Jocelyn Edwards. I think you could book her against maybe Eileen Perez, but I don't know. It's either cut, retirement, or defend that ranking, in my opinion. She doesn't really look like she's all the way there anymore. And, she had that incident with whatever was in her Adderall a couple fights ago. Hasn't really looked the same since that Holly Holm fight. So I don't know. If she continues to fight, I'll be fading Mayra Bueno Silva from here on out. And we were right to fade her on this one. So solid pick on Cavalcante. Next fight, Raoni Barcelos taking on Ricky Simone. Dog fight from the jump. Ricky Simone, Raoni Barcelos not giving each other any room. Ricky had a really good first round. Landed that big shot, had Barcelos up against the cage. It looked like he was stunned for a little bit, but I have to say Barcelos is a dog. He's got that dog in him. You got to respect him. Putting together 3 wins in a row against really formidable opponents. You got to respect Raoni Barcelos. Peyton Talbot, Cody Garbrandt, and now Ricky Simone. I think he's looking at a ranked fighter next. I got to say the uppercut that he kept throwing throughout this fight was amazing. Ricky Simone is a guy who likes to really slip and rip, so for him to time that was perfect. He landed it a couple of times, and the defensive wrestling from Raoni Barcelos was impressive. He even got a takedown, the only takedown in this fight. The knees up the middle, with Ricky Simone being, that movement that he likes to do, dipping his head. Barcelos' timing and his accuracy was on point on this fight. I agree with the decision. I thought that 3rd round he turned it up a little bit more later into that 3rd round and was able to pull it away. I thought Simone would have been able to use the wrestling here, but Barcelos, he's sneaky, he's crafty, he's looking like a top 15 type of fighter. So really, really good performance from Barcelos here. Ricky Simone, I don't think this hurts his stock. Both of these guys, in my opinion, were at that gatekeeper level, but it seems as though Simone is definitely more the gatekeeper, with Barcelos being able to turn it up at 38 years old. I think he's on his way for a ranked opponent, and I think Kyler Phillips is the guy that he should match up with. For Ricky, I think you can match him up with maybe like a Siri City, maybe a Blackshear fight is on the horizon, maybe a fight with Davy Grant, maybe, or excuse me, not Davy Grant, Charles Jourdain. I think that's a fight that could be presented to him. There's fun fights for Ricky Simone. Gatekeeper status, definitely, in my opinion, now. I don't think he's going to be able to run to the top 15 again. He's a dog, though. I'm not upset with the outcome. It's a really good fight. And both of these guys, crafty vets. Solid fight here. Next fight, we had Jamal Emmers taking on Hyder Amil. Emmers, the guy using the wrestling, surprising to a lot of people because Hyder Amil was the guy who was supposed to walk forward and have the advantage in the wrestling. And for Hyder Amil to get absolutely dog walked, gassed in the third round, it's not a really good showing for him. I don't know what you do next for Hyder Amil, man. He's getting knocked out, then he's fading in this fight with the style that he presents. He's not the guy to fade. It was surprising to see. Jamal Emmers kept it clean as he wanted it to be. And when it got dirty, he was the one winning the position battle, winning the striking battle, and ultimately winning the fight. It was a really good performance for the pretty boy, Hyder Amil. I don't know what you do with him next, man. I know for Emmers, there's definitely some fun fights because there is still that element of what does that chin look like today. And unfortunately, Hyder Amil was unable to bring that out. He was the one taking a lot of the damage. His eye was all busted up. But I want to see Jamal Emmers take on Juseng Yu. That's what I want to see. I know he just got knocked out. It's still a fight where you can lean on Jamal Emmers a little bit, but I think Juseng Yu will be able to find that chin and crack him. So got a fun fight for Jamal Emmers next for Hyder. Back-to-back losses. I think you could give him like a Danny Silva. That's still going to be a really fun fight. Danny Silva with that boxing. I think he'll be faster in the stand-up. I wouldn't be surprised if Danny Silva would be the favorite in that fight either. But I think that's still a good fight for Hyder Amil. He'll be able to walk forward, not have to worry about the wrestling as much. Granted, I didn't think he would have to worry about it in this fight. I thought he would be the one using the wrestling, but I think Danny Silva would be a solid fight coming off the Kevin Vallejo's loss. But again, it didn't really hurt his stock. But this fight definitely hurt Hyder Amil's stock, especially being 35. He's got a lot of work to do if he thinks he's going to find himself in the rankings, and it's not going to be from getting dog walked by Jamal Emmers. So go away for Emmers. For Amil, got some work to do, man. Next fight, we opening up the main card. So if you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. And we come through with the CLD underdog upset. I told you guys he was capable of doing it. The counter shot lands, puts Tulio flat out. A lot of spinning attacks from CLD. I was not anticipating that. I know he was going to it against Eric Anders, excuse me. I didn't think he would use it here in this fight. But CLD prancing around, using his length, using his athleticism. He was too quick. That spinning elbow in the first round, spinning back fist really to crack Tulio's forehead out open. Definitely caused some damage. Had Tulio holding on for the majority of that first round. Second round they come out. Tulio's more aggressive. CLD was reacting a little strange for me. Was leaning on the spins a lot. But when he found it. Spinning back fist, jab, and then the right hand to sit him down, and Tulio goes out cold. Nasty performance from CLD. I knew there was the element of the counter shots, but for CLD to come out as aggressive as he did was definitely surprising. He was the one advancing majority of the exchanges, taking the space away from Tulio. Tulio was unable to really get anything going, and I have to say I'm a big Tulio fan, but I just knew his wins in the middleweight division didn't really stack up to what CLD has seen. Tresean Gore and Ihar Potieria don't scream that you can be a top 30 middleweight to me. CLD going up against RoboCop, going up against Puyaev, getting finishes, finishing Eric Anders the way that he did. Granted, it was an eye poke and a nut shot. I was still impressed, though. I think spinning CLD is a mythical character, and I think he's going to find himself in a ranked opponent, fighting a ranked opponent next. Huge performance from CLD. I think this guy has what it takes to mix it up with some of the top 10s, I have to say. So for CLD, I want to see him take on either Jared Cannonier or even Paulo Costa. I think those are really fun fights. I can see him beating Paulo Costa. Maybe Paulo Costa would be a tricky fight because he's got some power, he's got some speed. He's not going to be deterred from the reach advantage. But one thing about Paulo Costa is he can lose a volume battle. Excuse me. it would be an interesting fight for Tulio. I think you're gonna have to not necessarily knock him down a few notches because he is still a fantastic striker. I think you could match him up with like a Marc-Andre Barrios, and that'll still get, bring in some hype. Marc-Andre Barrios was no pushover, but he could definitely be finished. I know he was able to stick it out with Shara Magomedov, but I think Tulio has what it takes to finish Marc-Andre. So Tulio, come back, take the rest of the year off, obviously. Come back sometime around the summer. Marc-Andre, I think that would be a solid fight. Maybe even put it on the International Fight Week card. I think Tulio will be all right. CLD, though, I gave you guys the underdog call. I have to admit, I wasn't like, yo, CLD, CLD, CLD. But I thought he would be able to do it, and he did. So I gave you guys 3 underdogs. CLD was the one to come through. I know I didn't put him on Wednesday's show, but he definitely was a pick for me. Granted, I was, biting my nails about it, but look what happened. Look what happens when you trust in it. You know what I'm saying? Excellent finish from CLD. Next fight, another one. Chris Padilla putting Ismael Bonfim out. Granted, I do believe that the scale played a little bit into this one, but Bonfim is not a guy that I was deterred from picking against. Padilla, defensively sound, smarter fighter. I felt as though the high guard that he utilized, the long guard that he utilized, keeping the hand out, preventing Bonfim from really getting anything over the top. He was cracking to the body, but Padilla wasn't really bothered by it. He allowed that for a majority of the time. Found the shot. We saw Bonfim crumble. We saw him quit, and Padilla finds his shots. Granted, the ref was saying watch the back of the head, but majority of those shots were pretty clean. And he gets the second round TKO. I knew he would be able to do it. Picked him, favorite underdog, alternate lock as well. So if you guys picked Padilla or you played Padilla, I gave you that too. So Bonfim, what do you do with him? I don't know. I couldn't tell you, honestly. For Padilla, what do you do with Taco Padilla? He's willing to fight whenever. I'm trying to think at 55, man. 55 is loaded. Padilla, I do want to see him fight Salikhov. Maybe let's go through the 55 division. I want to see what we could do for Taco. I think Taco, I want to see him maybe versus the loser of Salikhov versus Ziam. Maybe a Michael Johnson fight wouldn't be crazy. I don't think they're going to give him Esteban. I think Esteban's fighting up. Zell Huber, maybe. Another puzzle for him to figure out. Kawe Fernandez. Ooh, I think that's the one. Padilla versus Kawe Fernandez. I think that's the fight to book. I definitely want to see that. Kawe is a tricky fighter. The kick speed. I think it'll be a puzzle for Padilla. Good one for Padilla, putting him out like I thought he would be able to. And for Bonfim, I don't know, man. Hopefully, well, I was expecting some of the bad juju to rub off onto his brother, but we'll get there when we get there. Next fight, Udos, the Dr. Medic, knocking out Muslim Salikhov in the first round. Hey, man, some of these fights are going to be like that. It's, you got all the paperwork, or excuse me, you do the research. You look at Uros Medic getting dropped by everything that Muslim Salikhov is able to bring. Muslim showing why he's a 41-year-old. That's kind of on my behalf, leaning on a 40-year-old to win this fight against a guy who looked amazing on the scale. I even said he looked amazing, but it is what it is. It's the game that we play. The dice rolls the other side sometimes. And for Uros, good win. I don't know where you match him up with next, but I want to see him take on Sam Patterson, who's on a roll right now, 4 fights in a row. Finishes 2, finishing Danny Barlow, finishing Trey Waters. I think Medic versus Sam Patterson has a banger written all over it. Both of those guys are really capable in the striking. Sam Patterson's grappling ability definitely brings some problems for Uros Medic. I want to see that fight. So Sam Patterson, Uros Medic, book it for Muslim. I hope it's either retirement or just give him older guys to fight against. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it is what it is. We had a lot of faith in the old guy, but it doesn't come through today. The 3-fight KO streak comes to an end. Co-main event, we had Bobo Joseph Morales taking on Matt Schnell. Joseph Morales looking like every bit of the minus 400 favorite that he was, running through Matt Schnell, setting him up with the Kimura, and then finishing up with the Gilly. Bobo looks like he's the real deal, man. For Matt Schnell, just go right off into the sunset again. Go back into retirement. It's not that he doesn't have it anymore, but I don't know, man. It's really just, how does Matt Schnell get finished? Not does Matt Schnell get finished. But for Bobo, there's some good fights in the rankings. I think he's going to find himself in the rankings with taking on Matt Schnell, who's formerly ranked. Yes, he retired. He wasn't ranked anymore at the time of the fight, but I think they're ready to move him up. For him to exit the UFC, come back, and only have 2 losses is phenomenal. For him to run through the Ultimate Fighter like he did, finish Alibi Idris like a big underdog, phenomenal. So, Bobo versus Tim Elliott is a really good fight, in my opinion. Tim Elliott is a really tricky puzzle to solve, but I think Bobo has the wrestling that could keep up with him. I think his grappling is pretty slick too. I think he could set up Tim Elliott, and I think his striking is pretty clean too. Although Tim Elliott is really tricky on the feet, we saw that. We lost with the lock of the week of Kaya Sakura against him. Him finishing Kaya Sakura was absolutely insane. But I think Bobo will be able to get him, so we'll get our revenge when that fight is booked. But good win for Bobo. Good finish. Matt Schnell, just right off into the sunset, brother. Main event of the evening. If you guys haven't already, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. We had Gabriel Bonfim landing the knee of all knees on Randy Brown and finishing him in the second round. First round, I got it. Matter of fact, round of applause for Gabriel Bonfim taking us out. Lock of the week, Randy Brown. I got to respect his striking a little bit more. First round, the leg kick set up everything. Randy Brown was uncomfortable after the third round. His leg was chopped. You chop the tree, everything else comes shaking down, and that's exactly what happened. The leg kicks were his primary weapon throughout the entire fight. 19 out of 21 strikes in the first round were leg kicks, and Randy Brown was unable to really set up anything because he was so heavy on that lead foot. Second round, they come out, exchange a couple shots. Bonfim ties up, throws that knee. Randy Brown's eyes are gone. Hits the mat, wakes up, but the ref is already stopping it. It's a good stoppage in my opinion. I don't think the outcome would have changed had, he let Randy continue. I felt as though it would have been a big ground and pound coming from Bonfim, probably 2-3 shots, and the fight would have been ended anyway. I had a lot of anticipation of Randy Brown coming out here doing his thing. I thought he'd be able to defend the leg kicks a little better. Ultimately, he wasn't able to. I thought he would be able to manage the distance better than what he did. Bonfim's a different beast, and he earned my respect. I don't really believe in his brother, but he showed that he is not his brother. Little bro sometimes is always better than big bro, and we got shown today. So big win for Gabriel Bonfim. I hate the call out. I definitely hate the call out. Calling out Kobe is a waste. That dude does not want to fight. You might as well just call him retired at this point. I absolutely hate people calling out Kobe Covington. So if he doesn't get Kobe, I think you could give him Jeff Neal. If not Jeff Neal, then maybe, I don't think they're going to give him Gilbert, but I want to see him take on Jeff Neal. I think that's the fight, because I don't expect Kobe Covington to come out of the shell that he's in. For Randy, man, it sucks that he got knocked out this time, especially where he is in his career. I don't think he's going to get another shot at the rankings. For Randy, I think you could fight Chris Curtis. I think they'll book him against like a Mike Malott. I think those are good fights for him. I think he could definitely win exchanges with Chris Curtis as long as he's not in that pocket. And Chris Curtis doesn't really throw a lot of leg kicks. For Mike Malott, it'll be a little trickier, but that's still a solid fight for him. I can still see him having some success. Hate that he lost here. Hate that he got finished, but good fight. Good approach from Bonfim. Smart. Was able to use the leg kicks, chop the tree, and set up the finish. So, lock of the week, we lose again. But I gave you an alternate with Padilla. I gave you guys COD, some really good underdogs to bet on, and I cashed a little bit. I cashed on Padilla. I told you guys I was taking them straight. I didn't play COD. I ain't gonna lie, I was a little scary, but COD came out big for us. Let's go over the picks. So 0-1 with Randy, 1-1 with Joseph, 1-2 with Muslim, 2-2 with Chris, 3-2 with COD, 3-3 with Emmers winning, 3-4 with Ricky Simone losing, 4-4 with Jacqueline winning, 5-4 with Josh, 6-4 with Denise, 7-4 with Daniel, and 7-5 with Zach Reese coming back in the second round after getting battered. The parlays we hit with the safe one, CAVACALNTI and Marcos. Everything else died because of either Hyder Mill, Randy, or the under 2.5 in the Mill Emmers fight. But overall, it was a solid fight card. On paper, I'll give it like a 6. I wasn't that impressed with a lot of the fights, especially the Mill Emmers fight. I thought Emmers should have been able to push the pace a lot more and get the finish, but for him to go the distance doesn't really sit well with me. Need to see some more aggression, need to see some more finishing. But next week, UFC 322, a lot of important fights on that card, a lot of finishes I'm expecting. I'm doing the tape study as soon as this is over. As soon as I open my eyes in the morning, tape study, NFL, doing it together. But I'll put the NFL to the side because I need to hone in on 322. I got a lot of good feelings coming about 322. Michael Wellmaker on the card, Carlos Prates on the card, Michael Morales, 3 of my favorite fighters. I'm definitely tuned in. I'm definitely locked in. We'll be getting you guys the picks Monday. So make sure you got the post notifications on. Make sure you like the video, comment, subscribe, drop a W in the chat if you don't have nothing to say. And I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace out.